What's up, Grayson? Quick demo video for you for your Genesis Custom Sabers Badaxx. You sent this to me. It was pretty much gutted out, and you wanted CFX in it, right? So when you bought this secondhand, I think it had like a CS4 with an in-hilt LED. So we got rid of the in-hilt LED and then started from scratch with a CFX build. This installed with the Shtok B3 NPXLs that you wanted. This is an in-hilt battery setup. So your recharge port is right here with your kill key. So this is the provided top of the kill key that came with the Saber. Though I used the actual recharge port that I used was a little bit longer. So I swapped out the actual plug that goes in here. I just ripped out the old one and I printed a new one and glued it to this piece right here. So you'll see that, you know, when you take it out, or I'll show you that here in a second when we take it out. 2-button setup. So your main switch is this 16 millimeter switch right here, and then you didn't have the auxiliary switch that came with it, but I put a black tactile switch right here for your auxiliary, right there. Before we fire this guy up, if you ever need to get to the board, what you want to do is you want to take off this screw right here on the pommel. So that's what we'll do real quick. Probably shouldn't have to do this very much, just for when you want to change sound fonts. So we'll take that screw out, and then this pommel comes off. You've got a 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. It's in its own speaker pod right here. You can see it through the vents. This does not come out. This stays in place right here. And then that opens up to this chassis that I made right here. It looks like that. A pretty simple thing, right? But it just has the speaker pogo pins to connect to the pod. And then you've got easy access to your SD card and your micro USB slot right there. One thing I'll say about the SD card, when taking it out, well, I mean, if you're going to take it out, you won't have much problems. But putting it back in, just use a pair of tweezers and be very careful that you don't go on top of the board. I tried to limit that as much as I could, but still give you room to grab it with a pair of tweezers. But if you go past the board and you drop it in this hilt, you're going to have a bad day. This chassis is a tight press fit in here. It's meant to stay very sturdy and not move when the pommel is pressed up against it to make speaker connection. So yeah, that's what we've got there. And we'll put the pommel back on, because obviously without this guy you don't have any sound. And we'll put the screw back in as well. I have no idea how this was set up before. I've never seen one of these in person. And then, like I said, when this came to me, it was completely gutted. So I just did my own thing with it. Hopefully it's something that you like. All right, so you don't need to tighten that down too much. Just go till it's tight and everything's locked in place and you're good to go. And we'll come over here and we'll pull your kill key. Just like that. Now, this is what I was talking about with your kill key. I just made that a little bit longer. You can see that in the light, so that it reaches down and utilizes the size of the recharge port. It's a 2.1 millimeters, just a little bit longer. So now we've pulled the kill key. We can hit activation. Got your LEDs firing up in there. They're super bright. Nice smooth swing. Auxiliary over here. And then we can hit the activation to turn it off. This does take a 1-inch diameter blade, and your blade retention screw is right here. I left it loose so I can use this with my finger. I'll just tighten it up with my finger. You might want to use an actual Allen key, you know, depending on how much you're going to swing this guy around. We do need to lock it down though. So just tapping auxiliary for blaster deflex, holding it down for blade lockup. It's super loud. So what I did there, if you don't like the color, this is set up to where you can just hold down aux and twist your wrist. You hear Spectrum. It's a little bit, it's going to take some getting used to because the board's back here and there's a curve to this hilt. But if you get it right, you can do it every time. You just got to play around with it the first few times. But once you do that, you can twist the saber and cycle through different colors. So if we like that blue, we'll just hit activation. And then we turn back on with the blue blade. You also have a bunch of different blade effects on here, so you do the same thing. Hold down aux and twist your wrist, but then this time keep the button held down. Keep holding it. Blade profiles. Now again, you can twist the saber and go through different blade effects. Some of them don't pick up as well on camera as others, but you'll be able to see them a lot when you get it in person. If I just want like a solid blade, that's pretty close. Just tap activation. So now we've got that blue solid blade, and this one actually has a trail when it ignites and then when it retracts as well. Just like that, right? You got good flash on flash. And then just to change sound fonts, you would just hold down aux.
Sound bank selection.
It is the dark saber.
You can use either button to cycle up or down.
Crystal focus. Crystal focus.
Nebula. Nebula.
When you find one you like, just hold the button down. One more time. Just like that. And then when you're done, of course, just throw your kill key in it. So we'll do that when the blade is on so you can see it cut off. And just take your kill key, put it right here. Cut the power to everything, right? So now we'll take the blade out. This is the point where I usually go over taking the battery out, but I don't do very many recharge ports. But that is pretty much your saber. Now I do have your blade plug here. I would suggest sanding it down a bit more. I did put the NPXL in here to the same depth that your blade plug will fit in properly. But your blade plug's a little tight. So I had to come in here through the middle of this hole that doesn't have a greebly or anything and pull it out that way. That's not suggested for long-term use. So a little bit more sanding to get past this little cutout right here is kind of when it's starting to get caught up a little bit. I take this all the way out. It's about right there where I can push it the rest of the way in. It's just a little bit more difficult to get it out. So just a little bit of sanding on that guy and it'll fit right, and it'll align right with your emitter. I made sure. So yeah, that's pretty much your saber. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, this guy will go out in the mail to Austin today. All right, thanks, man.